We as a culture have finally shifted to where there's so much stuff in our life that we're overwhelmed with all the stuff. Paying attention to what the experience is we want, and noticing how I can have a rich and rewarding experience with a human being right on the street if I'm just a little bit courageous. That's the rewarding experience of life, not getting more stuff. My personal mission is that I'm committed to seeing that 6 billion people have clarity and confidence about who they are and live in alignment with what's most meaningful to them.
He's very heartfelt himself. He's very genuine himself, and that makes it easier for other people to be genuine.
When I met Greg, he actually opened a door for me, which I hadn't seen.
You cannot figure out life from the outside in. But if you start living from the inside out and start looking at what's most meaningful to me, what are the experiences I want to create, isn't that far more rewarding?
He's intentional in where he wishes to take you and bring you to that level.
And each one of you has a different mentor, because each one of you has a different heart virtue that resonates with another hero out there. Do you get this? And when you're living like this, doing what you were born to do, you get to a point in your life where you can say, you know what, I could die tomorrow and my whole life's been worth it.
Having studied, science on a very high level, what I learned was science hits a lot of walls. And yet when we become the experimenter in our own life, the real scientist in our own life, and start looking at ourselves and what's most meaningful to us, when I started asking myself those questions, all of a sudden things started to make sense.
It was a process, and it was an easy process, and it gave me insight, and I keep using that insight.
I want to know what's driving, people, what's meaningful to them. The more and more I tried to get to the bottom of how does the universe work, the more it eluded me. And with all that driving me crazy, what I did learn is that what's most meaningful to people is what's having the greatest impact. I mean, just look at relationships and how they work out.
That's what I found so fascinating about Greg, is that he dedicated like 8 years of his life being in a monastery. And he comes back with this amazing wisdom and amazing truth in a way that is so simplistic for any mind to be able to grasp.
Well, during the years that I was a monk, I became fascinated with people that are heroes. And I started studying their lives. I started noticing what's different about them. And the first thing I noticed was that every one of them lived in alignment with a very specific virtue. So for instance, Mother Teresa was committed to compassion. Martin Luther King was committed to brotherhood. Abraham Lincoln was committed to unity. And I started to notice that, wow, whenever there was a hero that emerged, there was a virtue at the core driving their values, beliefs, and behaviors from the inside out.
He has an uncanny ability to help you find out the one core virtue that really will make your life make sense.
I found that I was committed to empowering people for choice and freedom.
Life Camp's really here for people that are hearing that voice inside them saying, there's got to be more to life than this. Everyone has that voice that shows up from time to time. And what we're committed to is training you to be a hero in your life. We will train your nervous system to do what's heroic. And when you start experiencing yourself as heroic on a daily basis, you start to question all those rules. How do you actually not just understand what is a hero, how do you actually train a normal person to be heroic? That's where things get really useful. That's where people start to really take a look at the work that we do at Life Camp and say, wait a minute, you're trying to tell me that I've got a hero? Well, of course. It's about being willing to reinvent ourselves. And so I figure the best thing I can do is to be the change I want to see wherever I am. I'm committed to seeing that people get to live in alignment with what's most meaningful to them and be their hero. That's why I do what I do.
He's like a beacon. He's like this laser light that just pierces through and says, I see you.
It gave me a lot of focus. It was very worth it.